that we will not support those corporate deities of death anymore. We will not bring poison into our bodies. We will not anesthetize and inebriate ourselves and poison our children. We will come to a point and place where we are completely committed to the light of God, the love of God, the peace of God, the poise of God, the power of God, and being vehicles and vessels of the Spirit of the living God through our purification, our clearing, our cleansing, our edification, our consecration, to know that this is what time we're in. For itself, manifesting in its own unique and dynamic expression as each and every one of us. We are each individuations of this absolute and supreme intelligence that is beginningless, endless, infinite, and eternal. And we have been subjugated, dominated, marginalized, anesthetized, disenfranchised, and undermined by a people who feel as though they're the freaking gods of the universe, and everybody else is here to be commodity and slave or employee. I'm always in consistent prayer, praise, gratitude, and thanksgiving that you are always receiving more inspiration, more motivation, more insight, more courage, more care, more concern, to be able to respond correctly and directly to what is needed in our now moment, as we are consistently facing the challenges that we see others facing in our family members, from heart disease, diabetes, obesity, just all manners of sickness, illness, disease, despair, depression, all of that. And I'm just saying is that we are always dwelling in the reality of this absolute and supreme intelligence that is beginningless, endless, infinite, and eternal. Are easily bought and sold. And see, it's always been about buying and selling people. You understand? So the miseducation and the religious indoctrination has laid foundation for our not being in alignment with the will of existence or the purposes in existence, and the education and the religious training that we got really did not support us in having an understanding or harmony with the purpose in being upon the planet. And so therefore everything that we're saying is just the progression of the error. How can you have an educational system that does not support people in realizing the divinity, the sanctity, and the sacredness of their own lives? How can you have religious systems in place that continue to marginalize the people into thinking that they need someone to intercede for them, between them and that intelligence that beats their heart and breathes? And so we're having to come to a point and place where we realize that there is absolute law that governs our lives. There's absolute law that governs being directly, and we have been under the auspices of governments of men who do not respect and reverence the laws of existence. And they erroneously feel as though they are entitled to make law, to enforce their lawlessness on everything and everybody. And we are not able to go on in the progression of errors that we've been in, as you see that the world as we know it is in crisis. It's in a state of emergency with all of the warring, all of the killing. It's like, y'all ain't tired of spilling blood yet. I mean, who in the hell are you that you think that there's some prosperity, there's some profit, you have some right by God to eliminate and exterminate people whose lineages have been upon the planet for thousands of years? I'm just saying is that we're in a now moment where we need to come to a point and place where we can address the foolishness, where we can be in a place and space where we know that what we're seeing, we as governments, we as teachers, we as anybody literally need not participate with it. CNN, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, all of those ones are not committed to your liberation. They're not committed to your inspiration. They're not committed to life itself. And everybody upon the planet should be. And that's the reality of what purpose in being is. It's in the conscious care to be the progression and the continuation and the exaltation of the lineages through whom we've come. And to know that the greatness is already in us. We do not have to go into debt with student loans to discover ourselves. Most of what we've gotten in a system of miseducation has just been the certification, licensing, and degreeing to participate in the continuation of the systems of oppression. How do we know? Because we see how poor the school systems are. You see how much death care people are getting or not getting, how much life force they're expending, how many more ones we have sleeping under bridges and on the steps of churches and whatnot, how much money people are investing in the lottery and whatnot, and then how many empty buildings we have, how much money is just sitting there for 1 or 2 or 3 people to get when there is a need for people to be invested in, for their life force to be literally regenerated, rejuvenated, revitalized. But that is not the orientation of those who have vied for selection and election as city council, as mayors, as state representatives, as congressmen, as senates, and county this, and sheriff that, and police this. And I'm just saying, everybody has been fed like kids.
The meeting of the inner circle is intended to be inspirational, motivational. It's intended to give us that opportunity to truly become more unified, more edified as a community. And that community is made up of people of all walks of life, all manners of experience, all different beliefs and religious affiliations and whatnot, socioeconomic conditions and states of wellness and well-being and distortion and light. We are all here on this spaceship Mother Earth, and it is our time to come to that point where we can truly begin to relax a bit, to relax. Because it's only in that state of relaxation, it's only when you take the time to be still, to breathe, and to really, really feel the blessing that it is to be a living, breathing, thinking intelligence of existence. It's in those moments that you get the insight that you've asked for. Those moments that you get the solutions to the problems that you've been praying on. It's in those moments that you get revelation, that you get all manners of ideas and creativity. So don't think that these people have given you the proper model of how to be in the world, because they have not. They have put you in a position where you feel as though unless you're slaving, you're not doing anything. And then we pass those values on to our own people. He ain't doing it. He ain't doing. You don't know what people be doing. The issue is are we thinking?
We are working jobs and producing and manufacturing, distributing, advertising that which has absolutely no nutritional value, and marketing it to children, and then want to be respected as intelligent people. And then think, because you're successful, and how much you're getting paid because the people have been sublimated and behaviorally modified through all of the chemicals that are in the oppressive nature of that which they refer to as food. To be in a place where we are careless with the greatest gift that we were given, which is our own bodies, hearts, minds, spirit, and the perfect and divine functioning of that, to the degree to which we're serving death to our children, to the degree to which we are having babies in the hospitals, and the babies are being shot up with all kinds of chemicals that are not doing anything to oxygenate or hydrate or mineralize or alkalize or facilitate even more rapid cellular regeneration. It is literally undermining their whole life. And so in this now moment, I am speaking as voice on behalf of our liberation, voice on behalf of our resurrection, voice on behalf of our, and in the name of all of our lineages, because freedom to be whores, the freedom to waste themselves, then we're in complete aberration to what it is to be a woman as the perpetuator of lineages of people. Being fed like kids as opposed to being nurtured and cultivated as children is the root of the evidence of the genocide. So when a people intend to destroy people, as we're seeing played out with Israel and Palestine, no, kill the women and the children. Right? But you can't kill civilians. You can only kill soldiers. But they're killing everybody and got everybody killing themselves all over the world. When we were in Paris, the first thing we saw was everybody smoking. If they weren't smoking cigarettes, then they were vaping. Destroying the integrity of the lungs. And so we're in a place and space where you have to realize, no, we as these points of an absolute and supreme intelligence should be supremely intelligent enough to rejoice in the blessedness of our being. To realize that the blessing is in being. That being is the activity of expression of the intelligence of existence that has gifted each and every one of us in all orders of existence so much of itself for its own aggrandization, for its own exaltation, for its own pleasure, for its own fulfillment, for its own progression. But we have been influenced by a world-conquering rampage that has morphed into this zero population. The diagnosis might have happened sometime last year. And I said, well, what are the symptoms? And so then with the MRI and all of that, then it's showing lesions here and lesions there, and this and that in the brain and spine and this MS and whatnot. And I'm saying, but what are you eating? So it turns out when the diet, looking at the diet, everything that you're eating is acid. So the acid is now eating away at your tissues, at the myelin sheath, and creating holes, what they call lesions and whatnot, in your tissue. Okay, but it's reversible. I said, they never taught you about what to eat. They didn't tell you to change your diet. Well, no, they just told me to not eat any processed. Fruit is not there. Neither is the leafy greens or whatever. You don't have to pull up the whole plant. Instead, I go out and I just pick the leaves. And I pick the leaves from here and I pick the leaves from there and put them in a, roll them up and chop them up, put them in a salad, put some of my herbal shake on there with some red bell pepper and saute some mushrooms and my seaweeds and whatnot. And, eating from the ground right there. But then I have people who got the food growing around them and then they still going over here eating from people that they don't know nothing about. But we want to be respected as intelligent people, right? You got all this going on and then don't want to take advantage of it. And I'm just saying is that with the gift of life and being is the greatest blessing we will ever have, to be able to truly participate in the divinity of being and to know that we will not be on the planet for very long, even if it's 100 or 200 years that we live on the planet. Destiny is still beyond the planet, and we will be off the planet longer than we were ever on the planet. So coming to the realization that how we walk and how we think and how we live and how we dwell upon the planet lays foundation for what we experience beyond.